that has tried to wipe out the Jewish people, and it's absolutely irrational. Haman, to his own detriment.
Violent clashes have erupted between Israeli police and Palestinian protesters in Jerusalem just hours after a ceasefire came into effect.
Israeli police overnight stormed a disputed site that is revered by Muslims and Jews and fought with Palestinians. That led to other attacks in the region.
Tensions over control of the Temple Mount have recently escalated, heightening conflict in the region. During Ramadan, Muslim worshippers frequently throw stones at Jewish worshippers at the Western Wall below. Israeli police intervened to calm the situation, but this only served to anger the local Muslim population further. Why does this site inspire such fierce competition? Is this location truly the spiritual center of the Abrahamic faiths as many claim? And what exactly lies behind that massive gilded dome? Let's explore what is happening right now with the Dome of the Rock that terrifies the whole world. The Dome of the Rock, also known as Qubat al-Sakra in Arabic, is a shrine in Jerusalem that was constructed in the late 7th century CE by the Umayyad ruler Abd al-Malik ibn Marwan. It is the oldest Islamic monument that still stands today. The location of the building is on a level elevated plaza that is referred to by Muslims as Al-Haram al-Sharif, which translates to the noble sanctuary, and by Jews as the Temple Mount, the site where the Temple of Jerusalem once stood. Muslims believe that the Prophet Muhammad was taken up into heaven for an encounter with God, an event known as the Mi'raj, from the rock that the dome is constructed above. This occurrence is a cornerstone of Islamic faith. According to Islamic tradition, the Prophet was miraculously transported from Mecca to Jerusalem during the night journey, or Isra, to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is located nearby at the southernmost point of the plaza. It is common practice to refer to the entire plaza as the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and this definition often includes the Dome of the Rock itself. Architecturally, the Dome of the Rock is a stunning example of early Islamic art and construction. Although the structure and ornamentation have their origins in the architectural tradition of the Byzantine Empire, the building's construction in the 7th century reflects an early step in the development of a distinctive Islamic aesthetic style. The building has a base in the shape of an octagon, and on top of that there is a central dome made of gilded wood. It is situated near the center of the platform, and the dome, which has a diameter of roughly 20 meters and is situated on a raised drum, rises over a circle that contains 16 piers and columns. Its circular area is enclosed by an octagonal arcade that has 24 piers and columns. A section of the holy rock that lies beneath the dome is uncovered and surrounded by a railing for safety reasons. A set of stairs descends down into the rock, where there is a naturally formed cave. Each of the 8 sides of the octagon formed by the outer walls is roughly 60 feet broad and 36 feet high. The exterior walls also form an octagon, and windows are plentiful not only on the dome but also on the outer walls. Marble, mosaics, and metal plaques embellish both the interior and exterior of the building. The mosaics in the Dome of the Rock exclude any representations of human or animal forms, instead featuring Arabic script and vegetal patterns intermixed with images of items such as jewels and crowns. Although the mosaics are similar in technique to those found in Byzantine public buildings and churches, the absence of human or animal figures reflects Islamic anachronism. Inscriptions of Arabic religious texts can be found all the way around the octagonal arcade, highlighting the religious significance of the structure. The historical foundation and development of Jerusalem's solemnity had profound and long-standing religious importance prior to the introduction of Islam. Long before the construction of the Dome of the Rock, the site was revered by Jews and Christians alike. Once David had taken the city and made it his capital in the year 1000 BCE, his son and successor Solomon built a temple there. Over time, it evolved into the holiest and most important center for religious activity for the ancient Hebrews. The Herodian restoration of the temple was destroyed by the Romans in the year 70 CE, and in its place, the Romans built a city called Aelia Capitolina in 135 CE. The city went through a period of revival with the Christianization of Constantine the Great, who ruled the Roman Empire. The location that Christians have long believed to be the spot where Jesus was crucified, buried, and resurrected is now occupied by the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which was constructed in that region. Due to the support of the imperial family, the city continued to thrive into the 7th century. By the time Umar I, the second Muslim caliph, took control of Jerusalem in the year 638, the city had already been embellished with magnificent churches, monasteries, and hospices. In the decades following the conquest of Jerusalem, the fledgling Islamic Empire was plagued by civil strife and instability, particularly due to the establishment of dynastic control by the Umayyad family. After emerging victorious from the Second Fitna, which saw rebellion in Mecca, the resistance of non-Muslims to Muslim rule, and renewed conflict with the Byzantine Empire, the 5th Umayyad Caliph, Abd al-Malik, set out to centralize and reinforce his rule throughout the empire. He established a caliphate in Damascus, which was the capital of the Umayyad Empire. One of his many accomplishments was the colossal construction of the Dome of the Rock, which prominently stood among the city's churches. The date of construction was established as 72 Islamic calendar by an inscription placed inside the Dome of the Rock, generally accepted to signify the date of the edifice's completion. The Dome of the Rock remains a powerful symbol and a flashpoint in the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It is not only a religious monument but also a focal point of national and cultural identity for both Muslims and Jews. The recent tensions highlight the complex and often volatile nature of this sacred site, which continues to inspire devotion and conflict alike. The prophet Ezekiel was given a vision describing a new millennial temple in great detail. Jesus Christ is coming to set up the kingdom of God on earth, and there will be a temple throughout his millennial rule. Christ's purpose will be to bring humanity to the knowledge of God, to repentance from its sinful ways, and to the path to eternal life. That way is available today to those who desire to know about it. The recent events on the Temple Mount can be seen as potential catalysts for change in this sacred place. What do you think about rebuilding the Third Temple? Many people describe the complex known to Jews as the Temple Mount and to Muslims as Haram al-Sharif as the most sensitive piece of real estate on the planet. It is certainly one of, if not the most, contentious. More often than not, the focus is on the mosque, which has existed as a house of prayer since Muhammad's death. For some Palestinians and Muslims, there is a deep and abiding fear that Israel will reclaim the complex one day as the site of the temples of Solomon and Herod. Jewish tradition states that it is on the Temple Mount that a third and final temple will be built. The complex, however, is important for reasons beyond the tangled conflict between two religions over land, legitimate claim, and lawful possession. It contains the very first monument of the Muslim faith, one that changed the very nature of art, perception, and architecture for the whole world. One of the certain facts about Jesus is that he was a Jew. He was a child of Jewish parents, brought up in a Jewish home, and reared among Jewish traditions. Throughout his life, Jesus lived among Jews and his followers were Jews. No other Jew in history has rivaled Jesus in the magnitude of his influence. The words and deeds of Jesus the Jew have been, and are an inspiration to countless millions of men and women. Strange, is it not, that Jews have given little attention to the life and teachings of this outstanding Jew? Yet this is true because the Christian followers of Jesus came to cherish beliefs about his life that no Jew could hold. Jesus was a Jew, not an alien intruder in a once-a-century tale. Whatever else he was a reformer of Jewish beliefs, not an indiscriminate fault finder of them. For Jews, the significance of Jesus must be in his life, rather than his death a life of faith in God. For Jews, not Jesus but God alone is Lord. Yet an increasing number of Jews are proud that Jesus was born, lived, and died a Jew. And I think those are the reasons why the Jews built the first and the second temples in Jerusalem. Yes, the temple in Jerusalem refers to the two religious structures that served as the central places of worship for Israelites and Jews on the modern-day Temple Mount in the old city of Jerusalem. According to the Hebrew Bible, the first temple refers to the temple of Yahweh built in Jerusalem by King Solomon. That temple was destroyed by the Neo-Babylonians, a Mesopotamian power, in 586 BCE. It was part of the destruction of the entire city. The city was razed, and this was a massive crisis for the people of Judah and for Jerusalem in particular, because this was the house of their God. This was the one place where God had said, "I have chosen to dwell here," and where proper worship took place. The Second Temple was among the great landmarks in Jewish history and was built on the Temple Mount site in Jerusalem. It was established after the rebuilding of the First Temple, which had been built by Solomon and destroyed by the Babylonians in 586 BCE. The Second Temple was built in 516 BCE and became the centerpiece of Jewish worship and cultural identity. The temple was destroyed in 70 CE by Roman forces quelling a rebellion by Jews against Roman occupation. The destruction of the Second Temple was another significant event in Jewish history that led to hundreds of years of Jewish diaspora. The Western Wall, now recognized as a holy site of Judaism, is the only standing structure of the temple. So, do you think the Third Temple will be rebuilt? Opinions among Jews themselves vary, with some believing in the rebuilding of the temple based on a divine prophecy about a third temple in the Messianic era. However, many views supporting the rebuilding are largely symbolic and theological. Currently, the site of the Second Temple is very important in Islam and is home to two major holy shrines, the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Some Muslims believe Jews intend to destroy Al-Aqsa to rebuild the temple, a claim often voiced by Islamic scholars like Dr. Israr Ahmed. These views are often mixed with wider geopolitical and religious tensions in the Middle East, most notably the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Dr. Ahmed argues that Christians in general and Jews in particular have captured the Christian world and succeeded in weakening Muslim countries as part of his interpretation of global politics and religious dynamics. It must be recognized that such statements are based on personal opinions and interpretations of religious texts. The situation in Jerusalem and on the Temple Mount is highly sensitive, with complex religious and political elements. When passions run high and emotions are heightened, these clashes serve as poignant reminders of the deep-seated divisions that divide nations and inflame passions, perpetuating a cycle of violence and unrest that reverberates far beyond the confines of Jerusalem's ancient walls. Moreover, Palestinians, particularly those residing in the West Bank and Gaza, face significant challenges accessing the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, which sits atop the Temple Mount. As custodians of one of Islam's holiest sites, Palestinians often find themselves at the forefront of efforts to safeguard the sanctity of Al-Aqsa against perceived encroachments by Israeli authorities. These challenges underscore the complex web of political and religious dynamics that intertwine around the Temple Mount, where the aspirations of two peoples collide amidst the backdrop of historical grievances and competing claims to the land. Indeed, the Temple Mount remains a focal point of passion and violence, reflecting the deeply rooted beliefs and historical narratives of multiple faiths. For Jews, it represents the holiest site in Judaism, the epicenter of their religious identity and national heritage. For Muslims, it holds sacred significance as the third holiest site in Islam, housing the revered Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. In this charged environment, every stone carries the weight of centuries-old grievances and aspirations, serving as a tangible reminder of the enduring legacy of conflict and division that haunts the region. So, while some believe the Third Temple is prophesied, there are huge political and religious hurdles. True believers should focus on the message of peace that Jesus brought, not on adding fuel to the fire. Remember, the greatest temple is the one built on love and understanding, not on conflict and division. The return of Jesus. As we journey through the annals of prophecy, intricately woven into the sacred texts of diverse religious traditions, we find ourselves immersed in a compelling narrative that converges upon the revered grounds of the Temple Mount, where the promise of a rebuilt temple stands as a beacon of spiritual renewal and eschatological fulfillment. In both Christianity and Judaism, the vision of a third temple rising from the ancient dust ignites a profound sense of reverence and anticipation. It is not merely a physical edifice, but a symbol of divine presence and prophetic destiny, a testament to the enduring faith and hope of believers across millennia. The Gospel of Matthew echoes with the words of Jesus, who foretells tumultuous events preceding his second coming. Amidst the chaos, he promises a triumphant return to the Mount of Olives. Here on the eastern horizon of Jerusalem, his feet will once again tread the earth, signaling the dawn of a new era, an era of divine restoration and fulfillment. Revelation paints a vivid portrait of cataclysmic upheaval reshaping the landscape of Jerusalem. Zechariah's prophecy envisions the Mount of Olives split asunder, paving the way for a new temple, a temple worthy of the divine presence that will descend upon the earth in the person of Jesus Christ. But the significance of this temple transcends mere architecture. It embodies spiritual renewal and divine sovereignty. Ezekiel's vision unveils intricate details of a millennial temple, where the glory of God will dwell among mortals, ushering in an age of righteousness and peace. Yet, amidst the ancient stones of the present-day Temple Mount, amidst the echoes of millennia of religious devotion and geopolitical strife, the fate of this sacred precinct remains uncertain, a focal point of competing narratives and irreconcilable claims. For Jews, it is the holiest site in Judaism, the site of the first and second temples, and the longed-for location of a third temple. Organizations such as the Temple Institute meticulously prepare for its reconstruction, keeping the flame of hope alive in the hearts of believers. For Muslims, however, the Temple Mount holds equal sanctity, enshrined as the site of the Al-Aqsa Mosque in the Dome of the Rock. Any alteration to this sacred space evokes profound apprehension and resistance, rooted in centuries of religious devotion and historical legacy. Amidst these tensions, the prophecy of a rebuilt temple assumes heightened significance, casting its shadow across the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. Its realization heralds not only the fulfillment of ancient scriptures, but a seismic shift in the spiritual and political dynamics of the region. Yet, amidst the fervor of prophecy and the clash of competing narratives, there remains a glimmer of hope, a hope born of dialogue, reconciliation, and shared humanity. As the sun sets over Jerusalem, let us envision a future where the aspirations of all faiths find expression in a shared vision of peace and mutual respect. In the shadow of the Temple Mount, where the echoes of prophecy reverberate through time, let us transcend divisions and embrace the transformative power of unity and understanding. For in our shared humanity lies the promise of a future where the Temple Mount becomes not merely a site of contention, but a beacon of hope for all mankind. In the sacred verses and ancient artifacts, we encounter a tapestry interwoven with threads of divine judgment and the prophesied restoration of the temple in the twilight of time. The archaeological marvels uncovered beneath the venerable dome of the rock transcend mere relics. They are fragments of a cosmic puzzle, pieces of a grand design foreseen in prophecy. As we stand poised at the intersection of history and prophecy, these discoveries beckon us to look beyond the surface and delve into deeper understanding. They challenge us to reconcile the tangible evidence with the profound faith that resides within our hearts, seeking harmony between the material and the spiritual realms. In our quest for enlightenment, we are reminded that the ground beneath us holds more than mere soil and stones. It is a sacred repository of human endeavor and divine intervention. As we unearth the mysteries hidden within its depths, we may unlock the secrets to our collective destiny, buried within the annals of time. With each passing shadow cast over the Dome of the Rock, we find ourselves at a moment of reflection, a juncture where the revelations we've uncovered and the prophecies we've contemplated converge. They prompt us to turn inward and outward, to question, and to seek amidst the sacred texts. In those ancient verses, we discover a promise, a guiding light illuminating the path forward. Jeremiah 29:11 echoes through the ages, declaring, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This assurance transcends time, inviting us to perceive current events and discoveries not as harbingers of despair, but as markers along the divine journey. As we stand at this crossroads of history and prophecy, let us seize the opportunity to renew our faith, to strengthen our hope. Beneath the Dome of the Rock, amidst whispers of age-old mysteries, lies the assurance of a future where understanding bridges faiths, where knowledge guides our paths. To you, our esteemed audience, I extend an invitation to join in this contemplation. Share with us your insights, your questions, your aspirations. How have these revelations stirred your soul? How have they deepened your reflections on the intricate interplay of human belief and divine promise? In the tapestry of our shared consciousness, let us ponder the imminent divine judgment and the prophesied restoration of the temple in the final days. Through myriad words and thoughts, let us navigate the labyrinth of prophecy and faith, seeking illumination amidst the enigma of ages past and future.